everything that we've done, what worked, what didn't, simplify everything. We're building connections and we're trying to collaborate with each other's businesses, building trust and sharing insights and staying top of mind. So here we are, the last episode of 2024. How did we get here so fast? I blinked and suddenly we're talking about wrapping up the year. And so today episode is going to be a little bit different. It's a look back at everything that we've done, what worked, what didn't, and how we've grown in both in our business as business owners, actually, and as humans, just trying to make it work. Grab your coffee, tea, or whatever keeps you going. And because we're going to be diving into the wins and the flops and the real stuff that makes running a business. So it's going to be very interesting. And of course, I'll sprinkle in some tips to help you step into your 2025 like a boss, like you are. Okay, let's go. Now, let's kick off with the 2024 mantra, which is the one that I tell myself every single day, which is to simplify everything. And this year, I made it my mission to stop chasing into shiny objects and really focus, to be honest. I wanted to give my full attention to the podcast. Why? Because I realized that this was the best way for me to actually connect with you, my audience, my people, my ecosystem. And I knew I didn't want to waste time on podcast interviews. Seriously, scheduling those is like herding cats. So the first few months, we were all about researching in the right ways how to get more exposure. And then, just like magic, an email landed in my inbox and about a program to help me get booked on podcasts. And it was like the universe went and said, "Here you go, V." And the results, well, 6 months podcasting interviews tour has been nothing short of amazing. I've spoken to so many audiences about what we do, and let me tell you, it's been one of those best moves that I've made this year, and I'm really happy I did it. Plus, I've met a great podcasters along the way that we're building connections and we're trying to collaborate with each other's businesses. So that has been really, really good. Now, let's talk a little bit about leads. If you're in business, you know this. Without leads, you are basically a hobbyist. And this year, I doubled down on lead generation, on the freebies, the landing pages, the daily emails, and you name it, we're all in on that. And speaking of emails, let me tell you, weekly emails are not it anymore. And let me tell you why. We needed to keep our ecosystem warm all the time. So we made the switch to daily emails. It's like having a daily conversation with your people, building trust and sharing insights and staying top of mind. And was it hard at first? Yes, sure it was. But now I enjoy waking up every morning after my breakfast and sitting down and writing something that has just happened to me or something that I really want to share or a strategy that I'm building up, something that I want to do and I want to share it from the get go. I don't want to be scheduling emails ahead, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. That is great. Yes, you need to plan ahead and batch content. But for me, the joy of sitting down for 20 minutes just to say what is on my mind, what is on my heart, what I'm experiencing, what I'm building up, what I'm doing, and also providing value because these are value emails and story emails. It, that to me warms my heart. It gives me a purpose to know that what I'm doing, people are really reacting to what I'm saying. So I am loving that. Now, another thing that we've been doing is automation tools like ManyChat. And That has been really a game changer from delivering, the freebies to nurturing the leads. And we reworked everything. I had to rework our emails, sequences, our landing pages, and the automations. And I even found a VA who knew how to build these flows. So let me say, it was the best decision ever because we don't have to be punching in all that information. Then we can really actually focus on what really matters, which is to grow the business. Now, the leads are flowing in from the podcast interviews, our freebies, and our daily emails. And the goal was to keep them engaged, warm, and ready to work actually with us. That is the whole entire point. So if you're not doing leads, you better start working on this if you can. Now, another big focus this year was our website. I mean, your website is like your virtual storefront, is where, people go in to learn more about you, but also what you actually offer. So we worked hard to simplify everything. We rewrote the messaging to make it clear and easy to navigate, and most importantly, helpful. That's what I want. I want you to get the information right away when you need it, when you want it. So if you're looking for something, you should be able to actually find it without checking through a million little pages to get the information, right? So that's what we aim for. And honestly, the feedback has been so positive. So I'm really happy I did that during the summertime. And if you haven't given your website a refresh recently, let this be your sign. It is actually worth it. Now, let's be a little bit here. Let me geek out for a few seconds. And it's metrics. Metrics are everything. And although I'm not a fan of chasing numbers, I had one obsession besides simplifying my business. And this year, I've been obsessed by figuring out what hooks work the best, which subjects get the best replies, and how are people actually opening our emails and what are they doing. And, also, I've been dealing with Google that keeps changing the rules. So thank God for that, Google. I am not that happy, but it is what it is. But here's the thing, this isn't about chasing numbers, it is about attracting the right leads, not just more leads, just to have leads. No. And yes, people, come and go. But like I always say, if they're leaving, it's because they were never meant to be in your world. And honestly, my favorite part about, you know, doing this whole emails and the leads is the getting the replies to our emails, the real human conversations, the real questions, the clarity that they need. And these moments to me are gold. You don't get that sometimes on a phone call. People might feel a little bit awkward to send you a DM, but on a simple reply on an email, oh, precious. And speaking of metrics, of course, this year we've made a big switch with our podcasting hosting. We've just recently moved back to Libsyn. And why? Because, well, while the podcast has been actually growing like crazy, we didn't know where our listeners were coming from. Like, where the hell were they? Or, how were they finding us on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or on YouTube? We had no clue. So we went back to basics. And not only that, it's not exactly helpful if you're trying to grow strategically. So switching back to Libsyn gave us the tools to track everything. And now we have a much better, clear picture on what's working and where we should actually be focusing all our attention on our podcast. And let me talk to you a little bit about social media. Let's talk about TikTok. And yeah, we hopped on that bandwagon this year. And oh my God, we didn't do this before or sooner. I could tell you, if you have a podcast and you are not repurposing content on TikTok, you are missing out. And it's a whole vibe. But listen, you don't have to be everywhere. You need to be where your clients are or where your potential clients actually spend their time. For me, Instagram is my go to place, but not all my leads come from there. Now, about YouTube, that is a different roller coaster. We started again to roll out YouTube videos, and that has been great. And I must say, when Google Podcasts actually migrated into YouTube, I thought, oh, finally a solid podcasting platform. No, YouTube is still all about video. And guess what? I started recording my episodes with video. Was it fun? Is it fun? Not really. But as a marketer, you have to test, you have to adapt and keep what's actually working. And what is not working, you have to actually replace it with something else. And you have to simply just have to let go of the rest. It's as simple as that. And it's quite simple, really. Now, one of the biggest things that work on this year was how I work and how we actually I decided to balance my work and life. I used to be working for 6 days a week. You know, I don't know why, but I now I don't. I have actually scaled back to 5, but here's the twist. I don't box myself into a Monday through Friday kind of person. Some weeks I actually swap weekdays for the weekends, or I work longer one day to free up another day. So I switch it up. It's all about, being present. And this is one of the things that I really wanted to do this year, especially after COVID and all that. I've been talking about this for a while now, but the more I realize, the more the things that are happening around me, the more I want to be present, not just in business, but also in the life and life in other people's lives and my life. So for years, I've made up excuses like why I couldn't actually go somewhere or be there or do that. Not anymore. I've decided that I'm not going to do that. Now what I do is I plan and I show up and I allow myself the time to actually live. And let me tell you, it's been amazing. It's been wonderful. And it gives me actually more energy when I dive into my business, when I dive into my work. I have that work balance figured out, I think. Or maybe some things will change. But right now, I am enjoying that shift of actually doing that. Now, here's an advice if you are, thinking about 2025, and I want you to consider to be adaptable. Strategies are great, but life will throw you curveballs all the time. Life is not a straight arrow. It's mountains and valleys and all these sort of things and regular checks on with who you are, with yourself, with your business on a quarterly basis or a monthly basis, and ask yourself what's working, what's not, and adjust accordingly. You don't have to do this all the time, but maybe if you do it 4 times a year, that's perfect. You don't have to maybe do it monthly. Another thing that I would say is to take care of your sanity. You hear me say this all the time, and I know I sound like a broken record, but you got to work smarter and not harder and set boundaries and create a work schedule that actually supports both your business and your life. You have to learn to say no sometimes, and you need that sanity for you to enjoy everything that you're doing because we're in the business of serving others, but we also have to serve ourselves. Okay. Now, focus on what matters. Don't chase every shiny object that you see. Simplify, strategize, and execute with intention. Marketing is intention. Messaging is intention. So everything that we do, there needs to be an intent. Why is it that you're doing something? Go deeper sometimes. I know we sometimes go into the surface level, but sometimes we need to go a little bit deeper to understand why we make the decisions that we make. Sometimes we just simply go and run with things, and we don't go as deep. Now, the other thing that I want to tell you is to connect with your people, whether it is through emails, whether it is through social media, a podcast, a YouTube. Let your audience get to know the real you. Authentically and authenticity is the superpower that you should be actually trying to strive for 2025. People want to see humans behind a business. People want to see reactions. People want to see struggles, mistakes, and pain because we're all the same in that way. We all have problems. We all have wins. Sometimes we don't share the wins as much as we share the faults. But think about all these sort of things as you're coming into 2025. So, this is my wrap for you for 2024. And if you've already planned 2025, amazing. But if you a little bit behind, no worries, Hopefully something that I mentioned or that shared with you here today sparks a little bit of ideas and gives you a little bit of a nudge to go into the right direction as to where you want to take your business and your life. And let me know. Let me know inside the Spotify comments or shoot me a DM. Or if you are already inside of my daily emails, let me know. Let me hear what you're working on. I want to be here to support you every step of the way. So I want to thank you for being here, for listening, and for growing alongside me. I'll see you next year, same time, same place. And here's to an amazing 2025.